Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the 1111 Matrix Code Revealed. I'm your host, Garrett King. Today we're going to be talking about a subject that is very taboo, especially on YouTube. And that is going to be the September 11 attacks on the World Trade Center and how it is deeply rooted to the 1111 Matrix Code. Yeah. So I have to be super careful, probably about some of the things that I say, because I don't want this video to get kicked off. So I'm not going to make claims about who was involved. I'm just going to show you the numbers and how the math adds up. What I am going to state is that by looking at these numbers, it has to be called into question of, is the 1111 Matrix Code, did it foretell this event? I mean, I tend to think it does, because the phrases that have come up would have still equaled these numbers even if this event had never taken place. So the fact that, before September 11th of 2001, we could have typed in some of these phrases and gotten the same value as 11 or 1111, but yet the events did happen. So is it, what I mean by that, was it already foretold in this hidden code? And if that's the case, was someone, and I say someone, or someone's, already aware of this code and hacking this code and knowing that this event was going to take place? Or did they know that this event was going to take place, but they were using the numbers in some sort of ritualistic magic ceremony? I have to be careful here how I phrase things. But were they using these numbers to perform some sort of magic ritual? Okay. I have to be very careful. Well, let's just look at the numbers, and they'll speak for themselves. So let's just look at this from the very beginning. Now, let's get the cheesy part of this out of the way first. And when I say cheesy, I'm going to say that, when you look at the buildings, when you look at the Twin Towers, they do resemble a giant 11 sticking up off the face of the earth. So these buildings, they were the Twin Towers. They were 110 stories each, which, when you think about it, 110, drop the 0 and you have 11. Or if you were to take 110, plus 110, you get 220. Again, drop the 0. You're left with 22, which would be the equivalent of 11 plus 11. But let's look at the harder numbers here. So let's just actually look at the date. So 9/11, we already have an encoded 11 right there in front of our face. But 9 plus 1 plus 1 is also 11. There were 4 flights that day, or 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, another encoded 1111. But let's look even deeper. So September 11th is the 254th day of the year. And 2 plus 5 plus 4 is 11. There are also 111 days remaining from September 11th to the end of the year. So 111 on September 11th, that gives us the encoded 5 ones that I had talked about previously in my video where I had actually made that error. I had fat fingered a 9 instead of an 8, which caused all those numbers past that point to equal 5 ones instead of 1111. So it's encoded right here. And again, it takes us back to that phrase of we are in an artificial matrix. We are slaves. We are being punished. We are being further tested and tried like silver. 7 times in the fire, the few and refined shall rise. So that's already interesting. Let's go to just the first flight. The first flight was American Airlines Flight 11. There was 81 passengers, 9 flight attendants, and 2 pilots. 81 plus 9 plus 2 equals 92, and again, 9 and 2 is 11. It struck the North Tower at 8:46. So 8 plus 4 plus 6 equals 18. 1 and 8 equals 9. 9 plus the 11 from earlier. So that also gives us 911, but also 9 plus 1 is 11. But here's another interesting connection here. If you take 846, and that's the time, 846, and add 11 to it, you get 857. Subtract 857 from 1111, and you get 254, which ties back into 9/11 being the 254th day of the year. See where this is going? Yeah. All right. Now, another kind of odd thing is September 11th is the 254th day of the year. My birthday, September 2nd, is the 245th day of the year. So just swap those two numbers at the end. That's really just a connection for me, I guess. But still, interesting. Let's go on to the second flight. So 17 minutes later at 9:03, the South Tower was hit. So let's take the time, 9:03, and add 17 to it. From the 17-minute difference, we get 9:20. And again, 9 plus 2 is 11. Also, if you take 1 plus 7, you get 8. That's from the 17 minutes. So 1 plus 7 is 8. And then add 9 plus 0 plus 3, you get 12. And 1 and 2 is 3. And again, we're back to 8 plus 3 equals 11. So again, an encoded 1111. The South Tower was hit by United Airlines Flight 175. Both towers collapsed within an hour and 42 minutes, leading to the collapse of World Trade Center 7. So 175, that's the flight number. And then we're going to add World Trade Center 7. So that gives us the number 182. 1 plus 8 plus 2 is 11. But not only that, 9:03 is the time of the second the time that the second flight hit, plus the flight number gives us 1078. Subtract 1078 from 1111, and you have the number 33, which is the highest level of the Masonic order. But this will tie back in here in just a moment. Let's go to the third flight. The third flight, American Airlines Flight 77, crashed into the Pentagon at 9:37. So take 7 plus 9 from the time, plus 3 and 7, we get 33. So 33 connects Flight 3 to Flight 2 to complete 1111. Okay, because remember, we took 1111 minus 1078. That gave us 33. That's what this number equals. We're going to add it back to 1078, and we're back to 1111. Now, the fourth flight. Fourth flight was United Airlines Flight 93, crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania at 10:03. So take the time, 10:03, put it in as 1003 plus 93 equals 1096. So 1 plus 0 plus 9 plus 6 equals 16. 1 plus 6 equals 7. Take 4 from the fourth flight. It's the fourth flight, so add 4, and 7 and 4 equals 11. See how this works? It's all encoded within this event. Now let's look at a couple of more interesting things going on here. So the Gematria connections, the phrase twin flame. These were twin buildings that went up in flames. And the phrase twin flame equals 1111. Okay? Not making this up. Let's just go to Gematrianator. Okay? And we're just going to type in twin flame. And actually, we're going to use the Jewish cipher. So we're going to turn that off. English is on, so let's turn that off. And just turn on the Jewish cipher. Or if I could type today, twin flame, 1111. 411, the phrase 411 spelled out. 411 also gives the value 1111. Now, why is that important? Well, because there were 4 flights on the 11th. 1111. Triple given name. Okay, just going to copy that. Come over here to the calculator. Paste it in. Okay, we have a bunch of whole other connections here, but I just wanted to show you triple given name equals 1111. So does Alex Jones, who covered 9/11 quite a bit as well. But it's just showing these phrases and how they connect back to 1111. So triple given name, but what does that mean? Well, World Trade Center, triple given name. Freemason number calculation. So just that phrase gives the value of 1111. And is it possible that Freemason number calculation means the number 33? Okay, see how Freemason number calculation gives the value 1111. And then warning lie. Okay. That gives the value of 1111. So there's all of these connections, even through Gematria. Now, let's look at American Airlines Flight 11. This phrase, or these words, spelled out in Gematria gives us the value of 1348. United Airlines Flight 175 gives us the value of 2917. American Airlines Flight 77 gives us the value of 2753. And United Airlines Flight 93 gives us the value of 1554. Add all of those up, you get 8,572. Take 8 plus 5 plus 7 plus 2, you get the number 22, or the equivalent of 11 plus 11. But then if you reduce these numbers down, so 1, 3, 4, 8 reduced down gives you 16, the next one gives you 19, the next one gives you 17, and then 15. Reduce 16, 19, 17, and 15 down, and let's just do the math here because I didn't do it on here, just to show you that I'm not making anything up. So 16 plus 19 plus 17 plus 15 gives us 67, and 6 and 7 is 13. which would be the equivalent of 1 and 3 equals 4, which is also the equivalent of 2 plus 2 from the 22, equaling 4, and 4 also being a tie-in back to 1111. Can't deny the math. Can't deny the math. Let's look at some other interesting connections here. So bin Laden was killed on May 2nd, 2011. So it's encoded there. But the entire date, 5 plus 2 plus 2, didn't put the 0 in there because it doesn't calculate. But anyway, 5 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 equals 11. One World Trade Center opened in November. Okay, that's the new tower. November is the 11th month. The phrase 11th month has the value of 1111. Okay, I mean, you can't make this shit up, folks. Let's just copy the 11th month, bring it over here to Gematria Nader, paste it in, and as you can see, 11th month equals 1111. Now, let's quickly look at the flight numbers. We had flight 11, flight 93, flight 175, and flight 77. Let's reduce these down, and you're going to see another sequence taking place here. So 11 is automatically going to reduce to a single digit. So in this particular case, I just dropped it down. So 11 again becomes 11. But 93, 9 and 3 is 12. 175, so 1 and 7 is 8, plus 5 is 13. And then 7 and 7, or 7 plus 7 is 14. So you have a sequence, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's reduce this down. 1 and 1 becomes 2, 1 and 2 becomes 3, 1 and 3 becomes 4, and 1 and 4 becomes 5. So another sequence, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this may be a stretch, but this stood out to me because it's almost identical to the sequence 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 that was generated from the dates of the summer solstice solar eclipses that I had talked about, and how the number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in Gematria gave us this phrase, which was nothing but numbers spelled out, which was 13, 21, 12, 20, 9, 16, 12, 5, 9, and so on. Putting those numbers against the English alphabet, it produced the phrase multiple infinite waves of love. But that came from 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Well, 6 is missing. Why is it missing? This could be a stretch, okay? But I'm just speculating. I'm just putting ideas out there. There was a 5th flight. It does not show up in the 9/11 report, but you can search the internet. You'll find people talking about it. But there was a 5th flight, and it was United Airlines Flight 23. Well, 23 didn't ever take off. It never left the ground. So is it suggesting we have to exit out because it never left the ground. It never hit a building. It never did anything. So we cross it out. But the way my mind's working now with these numbers and how I'm looking at numbers, I look at it as if this is another sign telling you what to do at the same time. So before, we were adding the number. So 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. And so on. And interestingly enough, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Probably too much of a stretch. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. But what I am going to say now is we look at this sequence, 2, 3, 4, 5, that we were doing addition, But is this telling us to cross it out or to simply multiply these two numbers, which 2 times 3 equals 6, which would complete that sequence and tie back into this phrase, which makes me wonder, because I've gotten a lot of emails from people, a lot. And in fact, I've gotten one DM from someone who I'm actually going to record a podcast this morning with. It's the podcast, My Weirdest Experience. But the host of that show said that she has been seeing 1111 for the past 20 years, or maybe even past that. Now, September 9th, 2011 was in 2001, which was over 20 years ago. Just barely over 20 years. Is it possible that these multiple infinite waves of love, were these the waves that were being sent out from all of us who were watching this take place on live television, and also the people directly involved who lost their lives this day, knowing that they would never be able to see their loved ones again, that this was the final moment? You know, those who made phone calls to their loved ones, knowing this is going to be the last time I'm going to talk to you, or possibly going to be the last time. Are those the multiple infinite waves of love that went out? And did those multiple infinite waves of love punch a hole into this fabric of reality that we live in this simulation that forced this awakening process to happen, where we're all, not all of us, but a large portion of people are seeing these number sequences, waking up to this idea that this reality is far beyond what we thought it was. Was this event, the 9/11 attacks, was this event something that, like I said, punched a hole into this reality and caused this awakening effect to happen? I don't know. It's a thought. But, you know, these people, you know, have said, I've seen 11/11 for like the past 20 years, and that would put it right in line to this happening, the 9/11 event. You know, for me, it happened, I originally said in 2014, but, you know, thanks to my husband for correcting me, it was 2015. So for me, it's been much shorter time than some of these other people who have seen it much, much longer. And, you know, and I knew that there were other people that had seen it, because when I started seeing it, I started researching it, and I was finding information about people talking about seeing the number and what they felt like the number meant. So it really needs to be looked at. I really need to do some deep dive and really see when this whole 11/11, you know, occurrence thing really started happening. Like, when did people really start reporting that they were seeing this number? And again, you know, there could have been people seeing it before this event, but is it possible this event is what, like I said, kicked in this awakening experience, or punched a hole into this reality that caused the rest of us to start waking up? And all of this information, all these different tie-ins and connections is just showing how connected we really are. Every single one of us. Every single one of us. So yeah, is it possible? Well, at this point, anything is possible, you know? And you start looking at these numbers, and I've said it, others have said it. It gets to a point where, you know, you just simply have to say it's beyond coincidence. So yeah, there you have it. There you have it, folks. So just very interesting tie-ins, connections here to this event. And again, you know, was it foretold, you know, through the matrix code, this matrix code? Was this event foretold? Because, you know, there's, I mean, look at was it The Simpsons? And I don't want to speak out of or say something incorrectly, but there was something to do with a Simpson episode or something like that, I think, that had something to do with the 9/11 event. But I also think there was a pamphlet or something at one time that was put out that showed the Twin Towers and, you know, possible terrorist attack on the World Trade Center. That was put out long before. So again, was someone or someone's tapping into this information, this matrix code, and were they using, it's almost like the Force, you know, from Star Wars. You have the light side of the Force and the dark side of the Force, the good and the bad. It's all one force, but people are using it for nefarious reasons and other people are using it for good. Is the same thing happening here? Whoever was able to crack this code or knew about this code or this information using these numbers, if they were in fact using it for some sort of magic ritual, magic ceremony of some sort, you know, who knows? But the information was already there. It was already there. Because again, these phrases like twin flame, 411, triple given name, all of this would still give the same values of 1111, whether this event took place or not. So that's where I'm saying, does it call into question that it's foretelling events that are going to take place? Who knows? Who knows? But you can clearly see how this code and how the number 11 is deeply, deeply rooted throughout this entire thing. So there you have it, folks. Make what you will of it. I just want to put the information out there, show you the connections, and, you know, it's up to you guys, you know, to formulate your own opinions and ideas about it. But, you know, at this point, I just don't see where it can be denied, you know, any further, that there's, you know, that there's a connection. You can't deny it. Can't deny it. So, all right. Well, I need to go ahead and end this episode here because we're going to be recording that episode on My Weirdest Experience podcast. So be sure to check them out. Don't know when the episode's going to air, but she will let me know. And I will let you guys know either on Instagram or on here. So yeah, definitely check that out. And just a couple of days ago, I did record with the guys over at Whiskey, Beer, and Conspiracies. Don't know when that episode's going to air yet, but I will let you know as soon as they let me know. So be sure to check that episode out as well. So, all right, for now, I'm going to go ahead and end this here, and we will talk again soon. Bye-bye.